Okay, I'll wait. Okay, there we go. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Monmouth County. My name is Liz Tortorella, and my pronouns are she and her. I serve on the music committee, and we work with guest musicians, and this morning it's going to be a pleasure to introduce you to a new one, and I'll get to that in a minute. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. Our mission is to create community, transform ourselves, and transform the world. This morning, we welcome new guest pianist, Luke Nokes, and I'll tell you a little bit about him. He is a 26-year-old pianist-composer, presently studying for his BA in music education at Stockton University, formerly having graduated as an associate from Ocean County College. Alongside performing both as a solo pianist as well as with the Stockton Jazz Orchestra, Luke works locally as a piano teacher and substitute teacher classroom assistant for New Jersey public schools. As a composer, his own published music spans influence from various styles such as classical, jazz, and contemporary popular music. Welcome, Luke. It's a pleasure to have you with us. I draw your attention to the back side of your orders of service for announcements and service information for next week. For those on the live stream and for video viewers, the order of service link is available to you in the YouTube service description box. After the service, refreshments will be served in the community room, and people of all ages are welcome to visit with one another. If you are new to us, please feel free to join us at the welcome table with the red tablecloth. We look forward to getting to know you better. Also, please check out our website, uucmc.org, where you can sign up to get the latest news of the congregation by email. Please put your devices on silent as we enter into worship together. Welcome again to this place of love and hope.
Thank you, Luke, for joining us this morning and sharing with us your compositional as well as performance skills. That's a piece of his own. I'm the Reverend Dr. Craig Rubano, and it is my pleasure that you have chosen to be with us this final Sunday in July. How that can be, I do not know. But while sitting at home and attempting not to get swamped by the news of the day, the topic I assigned for myself mid-June for this service was, how do we keep going? And traveling around this world of ours, as I have been doing the past weeks, seeing the weight and shock of the United States' decline in influence, in credibility, in esteem in the faces and voices of citizens from across Europe, the topic is, for me, perhaps even more appropriate today. Today, when the current regime ordered signs to go up in front of the Smithsonian Museum of National History, warning Americans that history, as we have come to know it, is no longer sufficiently consistent with its rewriting through a racist white nationalist lens. That's just one headline among 8 or 9 head-spinning outrages of any given day. How do we keep going? Indeed. A psychologist and blogger, Lisa Olivera, has been asking herself that very question multiple times the past years, and this morning I will use her words as a through-line series of answers to the question. As you'll soon hear, Olivera's answers largely involve turning our attention to our souls, to nature around us, to those we love. And so for our call to worship, with the word worship always understood to contain within it its original definition of a shaping concern for all that is of worth, I offer Lisa Olivera, who writes, "How do I keep going? I have asked myself this question over and over throughout my life. At times, the question has come close to being a life or death inquiry. Other times, it is a simple question meant to help me get through a boring task I don't want to do. How do I keep going when life is brutal? When it's glorious, or repetitive, or piercing?" Here are a few of her answers. Instead of always trying to rise above it, let your anger remind you of what you want for yourself, for everyone else. Let it point you in the direction of what you require. Do as Mr. Rogers says, and look for the helpers. Notice the ones who put care into how they move. And ask yourself how you might put more care into how you move. Ask yourself, where in your day might you create a single ripple? When you notice yourself laughing, see if you can unstifle your laughter a little more. Let it widen and expand. Let it become louder and less controlled and more ridiculous sounding. Let your laughter free, and let the freeing of it widen you. Remind yourself that feeling lost now doesn't mean you will permanently be lost. Lost might be a sensation, a fear, a longing, or perhaps even a reality that will widen and narrow and widen again. Yet losing yourself might at times be necessary to make way for something new to arrive. And this, practice generosity. Think less about yourself and more about what you have to offer. Think less about what people will think of what you offer and more about what people will receive by your choosing to offer it. Think less about your own personal doubts and more about what a gift it is to move beyond your often narrow ideas of your work and into the ways it truly nourishes people when you just get out of your way. Generosity is a value to lean on when you aren't sure what to do. It always gives in both directions. So come, let us worship together. Every week, we light a flame in a chalice cup to signify the sacred space we create by gathering together in covenant with one another, with intention and with care. I invite Pat Hoppy to perform our chalice lighting this morning, and our chalice lighting words from Lisa Olivera are in the form of a few caveats. It's okay. It's okay not always to know how to keep going. We just need to trust we will. It's okay not always to believe in our capacity to keep going. We just need to remember we've kept going every moment up until now, and somehow we'll continue. It's okay not to be able to predict what's on the other side. We just need to let ourselves live the lives we have, trusting we'll make something out of whatever is ahead. And it's okay to feel suspended in the question sometimes. We don't always need to have an answer. We just need to let ourselves be open to it when it's ready to arrive. Thank you, Pat. One thing we all have in common for many of these July days is the power of summertime's colors, sounds, fragrances, and warmth. So I invite us to rise in body under a spirit to sing our opening hymn, number 66 in the hymnals and on the screens, When the Summer Sun is Shining, as it is so beautifully this morning. Our story wisdom this morning is an excerpt from a powerful tale written by Spencer Johnson. Some of you may know it. Used for years in many corporate settings to meditate on the human reaction to change. Years later, he collaborated with his son Christian to create a version of this tale for all ages. The title, however, remains defiantly the same: Who Moved My Cheese? So, once upon a time, there lived 4 tiny mouse friends named Sniff, Scurry, Hem, and Haw. Every morning they put on their running shoes and got ready to look for what really made them happy: magical cheese. Now, magical cheese was special because when you found it, it made you feel good about yourself. It was hidden somewhere in a big maze where there were many different pathways and many hidden places. Now, Sniff and Scurry always remembered where they had been before, so they kept exploring in new places where the cheese might be. Sniff had a great nose, as you might imagine. She could sniff the air and smell where the cheese was. Scurry had fast feet. They could scurry ahead and get to the cheese quickly. Hem and Haw read books and studied maps to find the magical cheese. "Let's try going this way," Haw would say. "I'm not so sure," Hem would answer. Hem and Haw did not want to get lost in any dark corners, so they went through the maze slowly, one step at a time. Well, so day after day, the 4 friends searched through the large maze to find the cheese. Then all of a sudden, one lucky day, all 4 friends found something wonderful. What do you think it was? Magical cheese. It had been there all the time, just waiting for somebody to find it. Whoopee! Cried Haw. Hooray! Yelled Sniff and Scurry. Hem shouted, there's enough here to last us all forever. Sniff liked the orange slices that smelled nice. Scurry nibbled on the hard yellow cubes of cheese. Hem liked the kind with holes in them. And Haw enjoyed the soft white cheese shaped like a wheel. Each began to imagine what the magical cheese could bring them. Sniff pictured herself playing with new friends at Blue Cheese Park. Scurry imagined themselves scoring the winning goal in cheese soccer. Haw saw himself getting good grades at Bree Elementary School. And Hem dreamed he lived in a great home atop Swiss Cheese Hill. As night fell, they all headed back to their little houses. Well, the next morning, Sniff and Scurry woke up early, ran to the maze, straight to the magic cheese. When they got there, Sniff smelled to see, make sure it was still fresh. Scurry measured it to see how much was left. When they were satisfied there was enough cheese for another day, they settled in and began to enjoy the magical cheese. Meanwhile, Hem and Haw slept. Later and later. We already know where the cheese is, Hem thought. I do not need to hurry. Haw yawned. It's comfortable here in my bed. I'll just sleep a little more. Day after day, Sniff and Scurry got up early. Scurry did the cheese, measured it. Hem and Haw slept later and later, and they did not pay much attention to the cheese. They just expected it always to be there. And what do you think was happening? The cheese was running out. One morning, Sniff and Scurry arrived early to find that the cheese was gone. They were not completely surprised since they'd noticed the supply of cheese had been getting smaller. They knew they were going to have to go back into the maze and look for new cheese. I'll bet it would be just as good as the old cheese, said Scurry. Sniff squealed, the new cheese will be even better. Much later, Hem and Haw arrived. They looked around. They couldn't believe their eyes. Hem yelled, what? No cheese? Who moved my cheese? He got very angry. He thought the cheese would always be his, something he deserved to have, no matter what. He jumped up and down shouting, it's not fair. Haw was just as disappointed as Hem, but he did not yell or stamp his feet. He stood perfectly still like a statue. He did not know what to do. He was in shock. Then Haw noticed something. Hem, he said, where are Sniff and Scurry? Hem looked around. I don't know. I bet they went back into the maze to find the new cheese. Maybe we should too. No, said Hem. I don't want to. It's so confusing out there in the maze. Remember how hard it was to find this cheese? It's safer to just wait until they put the old cheese back here again. Haw listened to his friend and he became afraid too. I guess you're right, Hem, Haw said. Each day, Hem and Haw went back to the same place, hoping the cheese would come back. Each day they waited, and they waited, and they waited, hoping for everything to be just like it was before. Meanwhile, Sniff and Scurry were sniffing and scurrying through the maze, looking for new cheese, and one day, guess what they found? A new cheese supply 10 times bigger than the previous find. But Hem and Haw were still waiting. Finally, Haw looked at his friend and said, Hem, the old cheese is gone. It's time for us to find new cheese. I know it seems scary at first, but once we get going, it will be fun. No, said Hem, stubbornly. Haw was sad because his friend would not change, but he was not going to stay there feeling sorry for himself, so he waved goodbye and went back into the maze. Now, at first, Haw was nervous because he did not know what was going to happen. But the more Haw thought about how much he would enjoy new magical cheese, the more confident he became. He felt free. He wondered, why do I feel so good? Haw realized it was because he was not so afraid. He stopped to write his learning on the wall of the maze, and this is what he wrote. When you stop being afraid, you feel good. Let's say that together. When you stop feeling afraid, you feel good. Soon Haw raced along and exclaimed, I feel good because I have changed. I'm doing something new. It's fun. I like the new me. Haw soon found himself in a part of a maze with new smells and new colors. Then he rounded the corner and was absolutely amazed at what he saw. Can you guess what it was? More cheese than he'd ever dreamed possible. He dove right in and realized this is even better than the old cheese. He was so happy. He wrote on the wall, "The sooner you let go of old cheese, the sooner you find new cheese. The sooner you let go of old cheese, the sooner you find new cheese." Then he heard laughter. Haw looked over and saw Sniff and Scurry, who were so glad that Haw had found them in the new cheese. Later, Haw thought about his journey through the maze. He had learned a lot. It seemed like only yesterday he believed change happened to him, like when he thought someone had moved their cheese from the old spot. Now he realized that the best change happens inside of you, like when you believe a change can lead to something better. Now Haw again wrote on the wall what he had learned. Move to the new cheese and enjoy it. Move to the new cheese and enjoy it. All of a sudden, Haw thought he heard a sound somewhere in the maze. Was someone coming? Had Hem read Haw's handwriting on the wall and found his way? Haw turned his head and crossed his fingers for good luck. He hoped with all his might that maybe his friend was finally able to move to the new cheese and enjoy it. The end? Or just the beginning? What do you think? Do you think Hem changed? I imagine sometimes a lot of us are like Sniff, sniffing out change early, or like Scurry, scurrying into action. And sometimes I bet a lot of us are like Hem, who resists change because he fears it will lead to something worse. And hopefully we're all sometimes like Haw, who learns to adapt in time when he sees that changing can lead to something better. Whatever parts of us we choose to use, we all share something in common. We all need to keep going, to find our way through the maze of life in changing times. And hopefully, we will learn to move with the cheese and enjoy it. So let's bless our young people on their way to Summer Sunday Fun Day activities with Jenny by singing "Go Now in Peace."
Every week in this congregation, we are provided with an opportunity to practice generosity. This is your invitation to contribute to the well-being of our congregation. For those of you in the Earth Room, the place will be passed by the ushers. Online, a link to our giving page is located in the service description box. You may join this time of generosity via text, send your offering by mail, or charge your contribution online with a memo designating an amount to UUCMC. Please give generously.
Well, Lisa Olivera has offered us several go-to maxims, useful practices, things to think about and do when the answer to the question, how do we keep going, isn't readily apparent. And of course, our trusty mice have asked us that we consider moving to the new cheese and enjoying it. One of the things that I do when I get the feeling that I just may not be able to get through a day is to begin planning my next trip. Somehow, traveling and learning about people around the world puts me in the context of our common humanity. And this last trip I just got back from was no exception, largely focused as it was on the countries that surround the Baltic Sea. I know we didn't get to Russia, but we felt its presence in large ways. In fact, the flag we saw the very most of was that of Ukraine, though we never set foot in that country. The countries of the Baltic, many of which first gained their independence post-World War I, had been the booty of one country or another, one empire or another for centuries. And finally, at the beginning of the 20th century, they could begin to find the answers to how they could keep going with a national cultural identity intact. And then after some years of progress came World War II and wholesale destruction, followed by 50 years of Soviet occupation. One such country is Estonia, which had an incredible answer to the question of how they would keep going. Now, Estonians are one of the oldest peoples in the world, occupying the same place for over 5,000 years. And they have suffered the indignities beginning in 1208 of being passed back and forth by Germans and Poles from the south, Danes from the north, Swedes from the west, Slavs from the east. The Treaty of 1920 removed Russian control and established Estonian independence. And until 1939, the country prospered, but fell prey to the Hitler-Stalin pact to divide up Europe. And having trusted nothing but broken promises made by Stalin, Estonia was occupied, its independence annulled. How did they keep going? Unbelievably, they kept singing. There's a widespread tradition of choral singing in Estonia, and a yearly competition and festival in Tallinn, the capital, where hundreds of thousands of people get together in a vast open-air amphitheater just outside of town to hear, to commune, and to sing. The Soviets thought the festival useful for their own purposes and co-opted it as a way to promote Stalinist communist principles. In 1947, the first festival held after the occupation, composer Gustav Ernstsax wrote a tune set to the lyrics of a century-old national poem written by Lydia Koidula, "Land of my fathers, land that I love." This song miraculously slipped by the Soviet censors at that time, that year, but long enough for it to be taken back to every town in Estonia and learned by all the choirs of the land. For over a decade it was banned, but in 1965, at the 100th anniversary of the festival, that composer, Gustav Ernstsax, was there, and because of his leadership over the years, was invited onto the stage to receive the tribute of the audience. And suddenly, with no planning, 200,000 people, at his command, began to sing the song that they had learned over the past years. The Soviets had the band play other music loudly, but there was nothing that could overpower or drown out the sound of that many people singing together. It was the beginning of what has become known as the singing revolution. You can look it up. There's a wonderful documentary that we watched before we went. That revolution took many years, but peaceful singing protest became a strong force of unity. And when internal division in Moscow in 1991 precipitated Mikhail Gorbachev's arrest, and troops without proper leadership poured into Estonia to quell any insurrection. Unarmed people faced down soldiers and tanks. 2 police officers kept the television signals from being blocked at an enormous TV tower, and the people kept singing as Estonian authorities assembled to assert the country's independence. The Soviets backed down, and freedom was once again at hand. In the interim years until now, Estonia has emerged as a high-tech and design powerhouse. It is said that you can get a better Wi-Fi signal in an Estonian forest than you can in central London. With the NATO alliance and the European Union, the Estonian people have learned what freedom and peace can feel like. And it has been a happy place. So many monuments and buildings restored to their former glory. An old town to rank with any in the world, with bursts of creative energy spilling into former warehouse and wharf neighborhoods, a cuisine featuring the wonderful flavors of the Baltic, rye and dill, pickling and fresh seafood. Happy. Until now. Until the world's most compelling symbol of global peace and order has been itself turned into a maelstrom of infighting and disorder. While welcomed and made to feel at home as Americans, we were greeted with 2 predominant feelings. First, pity and compassion for us, wondering how we were keeping going in the face of so many of our country's values being laid to waste at a global level. And second, fear. They know too well that it only takes one election, one turn of events, and everything you fought for can be gone. Every single Estonian over the age of 35 has known life under occupation. And younger people, too, are still living with the first-hand accounts of what that feels like. Over and over again, not just in Estonia, but in the region. After they'd expressed their concern for our own well-being, they stressed to us that they needed us to understand that what our country does is global, that the decisions made by madmen in our country have direct consequences in the lives of Estonians and beyond. Sobering stuff amidst such incredible beauty. But the lesson of Estonians is also in their ability to preserve a culture over literally, but for a smattering of time, 700 years of occupation. How do they keep going? They keep singing. They keep reminding one another that it is when communities work together peaceably that true, lasting change can happen. That the source of true happiness is found in relationship. And that is something we can take with us today. Sonia Lyubomirsky has been a leading researcher in the science of happiness for decades. And she's always chafed at the question, what is the secret to happiness? But if pushed, she would have to say that the secret to happiness is feeling loved. Feeling loved. And that's the title of her new book, How to Feel Loved, published in February. She and her co-author, Harry T. Rice, reveal that most people revert to 2 strategies in wanting to be more loved. They move to change things about themselves, to be better, more attractive, kinder even. Or they attempt to change things about other people. Both projects doomed to failure. If you really want to feel more loved, Drs. Lyubomirsky and Rice contend, the answer is to change the conversations you're having. Listen better to get more love. In order to feel more loved by others, you must begin by making them feel loved by you. Listening better to get more love. And becoming a better listener is one of the most powerful ways to do that. Now, in general, we aren't really good listeners, but rather perhaps good waiters for our turn to speak. And becoming a genuine, focused listening is actually quite rare. But one place it happens, and here is where this new science comes into contact with Estonian tradition. Focused listening is vital to good choral singing. This isn't a plug for our UUCMC choirs, although how do we keep going? Maybe by joining the choir, that's just saying. But I submit that having the kind of patience a choral rehearsal requires is good practice for the kinds of listening we all need to do with the sharers of our lives. Now here's what our authors suggest. Choose a person from whom you want to receive more love. And then make a plan to challenge yourself. In the next week or so, have 3 conversations with that person where you make a true effort of curiosity and attentiveness. Of course, we would want this attentiveness to be a two-way street, but the authors avow that by making the efforts ourselves, others will be moved to reciprocate. The luxury of actually being listened to engenders love for the listener on the part of the speaker. Now, of course, you may initially pick the wrong person to want more love from. And in this world, you have to know not only how to keep going, but when and how to quit if you need to. But the authors suggest that if we, like members of a choir whose sound is a collective effort of love, can become more invested in listening to one another, we will in turn be more loved in response. And the result? Happiness. So one answer to the question of how do we keep going, I suggest may be start listening. In the face of everything that can befall us in this world as a result of the greed and callousness of leaders on the make, we may be not as resoundingly beautiful sounding as the Estonians when they get together to sing. You can hear and see it all online. But we can learn to sing a pathway forward together that promises all more love and more happiness in the days we have yet allotted to us. So, let's start our own listening revolution, shall we? And we can start right now. Luke will gift us with a rendition of one of Felix Mendelssohn's Songs Without Words. Perhaps you remember Helen Benham and I did a whole service on these wonderful Songs Without Words by Mendelssohn. This is number 4 of the Opus 53 collection, Allegro in F major. Lisa Olivera finds that when she approaches two questions in particular, what am I noticing and what am I turning toward, she discovers the medicine she needs in those how do I keep going moments. So I invite us into a time of prayer and meditation as we hear some of the medicine Lisa Olivera wants to remember. There may not be a fix to what you fear. There may only be an opening to tend to it lovingly. You cannot do the part of millions. You can do your small part with as much heart as possible. You get to choose who you want to be, regardless of the outcome of anything. Look around you when you assume you must carry it all alone. Look at all the others doing the lifting alongside you. Look at the web you're part of. Let the river of feelings be a current flowing through you instead of running up against a stuck dam. Let the flow remind you everything begins and ends, sometimes again and again. Let it move you. Stay with the tenderness. It is not a problem. It is aliveness. There is beauty in your incessant desire to understand all sides, all opinions, all viewpoints, all perspectives. It grows your humanity. Silliness is not a betrayal to what is serious, but a buoy to survive it. There are generous, kind, loving, compassionate, wise, tender, hopeful humans everywhere, 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 I promise. You get to work on becoming one of those people every single day. What a gift. One breath, then another, then another, then another. And finally, stay with the heart. It tends to be the most loving guide there is. Amen. Our closing hymn is one many of you know well, but which we haven't sung in quite some time. But surely part of keeping going is to find ways to come daily with praise and thanks for all that is our life. So number 128 in the hymnals and on the screens, I invite us to rise in body and or spirit to sing our closing hymn together. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use to build a common Well, I was looking at the back of the order of service, and this is quite a week coming up of activities. We've got mindfulness with Aida on Wednesday night on Zoom at 6:30. We've got the Mothapalooza. Is that this week too, coming up? Unbelievable. Friday, it's turned into the biggest extravaganza of the season, if you hadn't known. Friends and family of all ages. There's going to be desserts, snacks, soft drinks, finger foods, crafts, games. Dress as a moth, maybe. I don't know. The Common Read with Adult RE is Thursday at 7 p.m. Tuesday night, Monmouth Center for World Religions and Ethical Thought has their annual meeting. Dr. Calvin Chatlos, our friend Calvin, will be speaking. That's a lot of stuff. And next Sunday, Reverend Mary Tebow, who's a great favorite of this congregation, will be back here to speak in recognition of James Baldwin's birthday. So that's a good week at UUCMC. I hope to see you all at least at the Mothapalooza. I'm excited to see what that's going to be all about. Maybe some bug spray, I don't know. What do you think? Bug spray, Ann, good idea? Before you come? Yeah, okay. For our closing words of benediction, we turn one last time to Lisa Olivera. Stop trying to keep it all together. You are not glue or stone. You do not need to remain solid at all times. You can drop some, let some fall, let yourself come apart. You can pour out what you thought you needed to keep contained. You can stretch what is tightened and expand what is scrunched. You do not need to keep it all together. You are not meant to keep it all together. So, keep buying flowers, keep making your little altars, keep looking to the moon, keep letting breath be a buoy, keep collapsing into the arms of others, keep being someone others can collapse into, keep making art, keep asking questions, keep going to bed by 9:30 p.m., keep moving your body, keep filling your water bottle, keep getting gas before the tank is low, keep making nourishing food even when it's boring, keep shifting what you believe, keep shedding, keep embracing what is coming undone, keep allowing what wants to be given new life within and around you. See yourself in the sunrise, a fresh opportunity to try again. See yourself in the sunset, a renewed nudge to rest, surrender. Set it all down for now. Earlier at Generosity Time, we heard the first entry of Edvard Grieg's 66 lyric pieces for solo piano. Begun when the composer was in his 20s, the series unfolded in 10 volumes over the next 35 years. And Luke will now offer us the third entry to the pieces as a postlude for this morning. This is the Vector Song, or the Watchman's Song, reportedly inspired by a production of Shakespeare's Scottish play. Our thanks to Luke Nokes. Let us go in peace to find the new cheese and enjoy it as we bless the world.